YouTube, we are back with another video. We are going to be looking at the NBA playoffs. I'm going to give you my playoff predictions. Let's go right into it, starting with the Western Conference. We have not done the 8 playing games on either side, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to pick against them anyway. I think both of them lose in 5. Dallas is playing Najee Marshall at point guard. They have no guard presence at all. So if you're running that lineup, you might as well get ready for the beach, Mavericks fans and players. Memphis, not really sure what their identity is at this point yet. Jaren Jackson have a very good season. John Morant's been all over the place. And then you just got Desmond Bane thrown in. I need all of them to play really good in the series. And against a Thunder team that is an incredible defensive team. So I just don't think it really stacks up against them. They have every body they can throw at those guys to make it tough to score. So I'm going to take OKC in 5 in both. Let's go to an established series that we already know of, and that's going to be Denver against the Clippers. Denver, I'm going to take in 6. I think Denver wins because of the veteran presence they have is good enough to get them over this series. The Clippers are a question mark for me because of Kawhi Leonard. Can he make a full playoff series playing 40 minutes a night? That's going to be really tough for him because we know his knee is never going to be 100% again. You have the best player in the world on Denver. Jokic does other things than scoring. He doesn't even have to really score to be super effective. He's going to get all of his shooters involved. He's going to get all his slashers involved. And I think that's going to be enough to beat the Clippers, who are relying on 35-year-old James Harden to continue this play in the playoffs, which he historically has struggled with, shooting a lower percentage, averaging less points per game, getting to the free throw line less when he was in his prime. And I think that's going to be the same story when he's older as well. The next one's probably going to be the best series, and it's going to be Lakers-Timberwolves. I think in terms of the games are going to be really close. I'm not picking it to go 7. I got Lakers in 6 in this one. Anthony Edwards is a couple years away from getting a roster around him that will be good enough to win an NBA Finals. Last year they were really close. This year they made a change, getting Julius Randle and got rid of Cat. I don't think that's a better option. But historically, both players have struggled in the playoffs. So if Julius Randle can step up his game in the playoffs, it is a different dynamic, and they can run a small ball lineup without Gobert, because I don't think Gobert is a huge part of this series, considering he can't guard perimeter players, but he will be out there when Jackson Hayes is there as well. I think as you see with series with Gobert in the NBA, he is not effective in the playoffs. He's not a good offensive player at all, probably one of the worst at his size. And he's also a horrible perimeter defender. He's a great interior defender, but that is it. And in the playoffs, the Lakers are going to be spacing it out 5 out, getting corner threes all day. And that is not something the Timberwolves can survive. The next matchup is another good one. It's Rockets and Warriors. And in the words of Matt, this is going to be a war. The Rockets pose an interesting threat to stopping Curry. They have a lot of athletic bodies they can throw at Curry, like Amin Thompson. And then they can mix it up with Fred VanVleet. Throw random guys at him off of the constant, screens Curry's going to get open. And they're athletic enough to stay with them, to not give Curry a lot of space. This is one of the teams I think could make Curry struggle in a series, and I just don't think that bodes well for the Warriors. I'm picking the Rockets in 7 on this one. The Rockets don't have a ton of scoring, but they play better defense than the Warriors by a little bit, and that is the factor in the series. Round 2, OKC, Denver. I'm going to go OKC in 5 on this one. My issue is OKC does both things better than them. They score about the same, if not better, and they also defend unbelievably better than Denver. So even if I did actually give a slight advantage to Denver on offense, OKC's defense is so much better than theirs. They're not going to be able to keep anybody in front of them. I got OKC in 5. Then the second round on the other side, you got Lakers and Rockets. I'm going to go Lakers in 6 again. The Rockets will be annoying and win some games with strictly defense, but the Lakers are way too skilled with their superstars and veteran presence that they can hit threes at a 40% clip outside of Luka and LeBron. That's going to be helpful with like Finney Smith in the corner, Rui in the corner. Give me Gabe Vincent. If you get the Miami Gabe Vincent, it's the same thing. This is where the inexperience of their young core is exposed, because you're going up against 2 players in the Lakers that have probably the highest basketball IQ in the entire NBA. And they will meet OKC in the Western Conference Finals, and I'm going to take the Lakers in 7. Jay, are you a Lakers fan? I am not a Lakers fan. But I do think LeBron James, at this age, still playing at a top 10 level, still is relatively healthy. And at this point, he does have an extra gear that he always plays in the playoffs. And then you got Luka Doncic, who, I'm sorry, beating him in a playoff series is not historically easy, especially when he has help now. And I think he's playing some of his best ball entering the playoffs. He's healthier than he probably has ever been entering the playoffs. Luka doesn't really have much right now that he's dealing with. Coming off that calf injury, he seems to be not laboring it as much as he was in the past. So given that, I do not think OKC, with still having a young, inexperienced team, they're a couple years away from winning. I mean, they could win it this year. Don't get me wrong. I'm picking them in the Western Conference Finals. But I still think for me to confirm that they are easily going to win a championship, I absolutely think it's 1 or 2 years away. Right now, I think this is the last Lakers stand they have, and I think they do it. Let's go to the Eastern Conference. I'm ready for this one. My team is actually here for the first time since 2019. We will get to them in a second. With the Cleveland Cavaliers playing either the Heat or the Hawks. Regardless of who they play, I have the Cavs in 5. Series I think is the most underrated I'm going to do next is Pacers-Bucks. I'm going to go Bucks in 6. Bucks in 6. Damian Lillard was just cleared after having a blood clot. I would have picked the Bucks anyway because Giannis is unstoppable, and I think people have been disrespecting him for way too long. The Pacers don't really have an answer, and if you think Miles Turner is not going to get in foul trouble guarding Giannis, I think you're crazy. So I think it's going to come down to the secondary guys that the Pacers have, and that's not good enough. But then you also got to guard Lillard 35 feet from the basket. I'm sorry, that and the pick and roll in the playoffs is going to be used all the time, and it's not like the Bucks don't have outside shooting outside of that. They got Gary Trent. They got Brook Lopez as a stretch big too. They got Prince, who I think led the league in three-point percentage, I think. They have a lot of guys that are used to space out the Pacers, and the Pacers are not a good defensive team at all. And I just, even though the Pacers are playing some really good ball, I just think this is the worst team to run into. It's the same. If the Pistons were playing the Bucks, the Pistons would almost get swept. And we are going to go into the series I was most excited to talk about, and that is the Knicks versus Pistons. I'm a Detroit Pistons fan, been my whole life. And this has been one of the greatest turnarounds I've ever seen in NBA history. You have changed the season, winning 30 more games than last year. You're the first team in NBA history to have 3 times the win total of the year before. This is something that's so crazy that you're finally actually getting people to talk about Cade Cunningham and the team around him. Looking at the specifics of this series, what is it going to come down to? The New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson's health. He sprained his ankle at the end of the year. He's still trying to get himself back to 100%. And it's hard with a sprained ankle when you got to move side to side. They're going to put you in constant pick and rolls. They're going to get you out in isolation. Do the Pistons just attack Jalen Brunson when they get him on a switch? Because the Knicks switch every ball screen. So is that going to be the factor? How does Jalen Brunson hold up not getting in foul trouble, scoring the basketball, and just defending in general with this laboring ankle? Cade Cunningham, his first playoff appearance. I don't know how the Knicks are going to guard him because they could not guard him in the regular season. He was scoring 30 a game, and very efficiently too. They might try to have everybody else in the Pistons beat him. The problem is the Pistons had a player with the second most three-pointers made in Malik Beasley. So you have a guy that you have to watch that stretches the floor. Tim Hardaway Jr. can stretch the floor. He's been playing his best ball recently. Jalen Duren inside has been dominating. So you have other options that you can go to score. Ausar Thompson, as a slasher and as a defender, has been one of the best in those categories in the entire league. His on-ball defense and getting deflections is something that you're going to be amazed to see if you haven't watched the Pistons much. He is an incredible defender, and I think that on Brunson or him on like Mikal Bridges, that defense is going to be thrown at a lot of Knicks players, and they're going to struggle against him. So it really does depend on that aspect. So it seems like I'm probably going to pick the Pistons. I'm sadly not. I do think the Pistons have a very good chance of winning the series, but I'm going to go Knicks in 6. The reason I am is just experience. Playoffs does come down to that over the course of a long series. So the Pistons could take some games, but the Knicks have been winning playoff series recently. They've won 2 straight first rounds. And the Pistons, this is their first one in a while, and a lot of the names are new. They do have guys who have played in the playoffs a lot, but they have a lot of new faces with Duran, Cade. Ivy, I don't know if he'll even play, and that's another factor too. We don't even have Jaden Ivey as well. That's going to be a factor because the Knicks did struggle keeping him in front. The Knicks have too much experience. I think Josh Hart is an X factor because if he's hitting his 3 ball and you add in his hustle and rebounding and defense, I think that's just something that puts the Knicks over the top in the series. I have a 60-40% who wins that series. 60-40, Knicks win, but I'm going to take the Knicks in this one. This is the worst series in the entire playoffs. Celtics Magic. The Magic pose an interesting threat being a great defensive team, but they're one of the worst shooting teams I've ever seen in the NBA, especially in modern times. They shoot 30% from 3 for the whole season. It's embarrassing. They can't keep up with the Celtics. They're too big and slow to close out on the Celtics, who every single player shoots 3s. So I just think the Celtics win in 4. I don't even think the Magic win 1. Cavaliers and Bucks. I'm going to go Bucks in 7. The Bucks do have the size that Cleveland has. They do have shooting like Cleveland has. I think it just comes down to the best player in the series is Giannis. It's not Donovan Mitchell. And another thing that Donovan Mitchell is going to have to do, he's got to outplay Damian Lillard. Can he do that? That's another thing we got to ask. Lillard's been here too. So Lillard is getting older. So I do think, yes, Donovan Mitchell should be the better player in this series, but again, you got to at least beat him first. And I just think it comes down to every other aspect is pretty even, and it comes down to your best player, and I think that is the reason they win in 7. I'm going to go Celtics in 6 here. The Knicks are going to run out of gas because Thibodeau plays them 40-plus minutes a game, and I think Jalen Brunson at this point, if his ankle it doesn't get to 100% and he has to continue laboring it, this is where it's going to catch up to him. The Celtics are going to make him work on defense. They're going to make him close out and shoot. Or the Knicks cannot keep up scoring with the Celtics. Not many teams can. That's why this is so hard for any team that goes up against the Celtics because your whole team can shoot 3s. The Bucks and Celtics. I'm going to go Celtics in 6 here. So the NBA Finals. The NBA would love the finals I'm picking right now for ratings as you have the Lakers and the Celtics. You have the old school matchup. You got LeBron James, Luka Doncic going against Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who just came off winning an NBA Finals. This is going to be probably the best series you could ever imagine. And part of it is that, but I really have a hard time picking against the Celtics. I'm sorry. I just can't see myself picking the Lakers here. This is Celtics in 6. And the reason it's Celtics in 6, it's going to come down to, I'm sorry, as good as LeBron James is, and he is the best player of all time, you're 40 years old. You have to play this many games, and then you have to go up against an experienced / youth Celtics in comparison to your Lakers, and you got to close out on every single shooter on the floor. It's going to catch up to you at this point. I think the Celtics win another finals. They go 2 in a row. I don't really want that to happen, but I just feel like there's no team I can pick against right now that can beat the Celtics. So that is going to be my playoff predictions here. Comment below who you guys think is going to win it all. Any picks of mine that you think are wrong, any picks of mine you think are right. Let me know in the comments. We're going to look back at this probably at the end of the playoffs, see how accurate I was. But I will see you guys in our next video. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.